Welcome to yet another Ultimate the Show with me, your host Jake. Today I have a special guest on. He is the director of 100% Wolf and the recently released 200% Wolf, and soon Zac Power. Please welcome onto the show, Alexs Stadermann. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello. Really great to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Glad to have you. Well, first off, for those who may not know your work yet, could you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about your background and how you got into animation?
Mm. Okay. Yeah, so my name is Alexs Stadermann. I've been in animation business basically since I left school. Uh, how I got into it was a little bit of a fluke. I was one of those kids who just drew a lot when I was in school. Teachers loved it because I was really quiet when I drew, and usually I otherwise I distracted the class. But I actually I was one of those kids who didn't know what to do with themselves, and it never occurred to me that animation is actually done by people until I one day I found a piece of paper in the street and for some reason picked it up, opened it up, and it was for an apprenticeship to become an animator. And I went, oh, people do this and you can learn it? Like what? Oh my God. So yeah, I went there, did a test and passed the test. Kind of unfortunate. The opposite of the silver lining, I found afterwards that my best friend lost that piece of paper in the street, and she didn't tell me about it because she was worried that I would maybe get the job over her. So destiny made me find it, and so here I am after all these years.
Wow.
Uh,
What what an interesting way to get into it.
yeah, no.
Well, I guess jumping from that, what was the path like from that point onwards? Like you started
All
in
right.
special effects, right? And
Yeah, yeah. Because that's something that's always really interested me since I saw the Disney movie Fantasia, where there are so many amazing special effects in it, and I thought, oh, that's so cool. So yeah, I got into that in a really tiny, small studio in Munich, Germany. But there I met the people who just came off the Roger Rabbit movie, all this international crew who moved to Munich to work on a different production there. And I met them and ended up working with them. And as soon as they were done with that movie, they all went back to London to work at Emblemation, and I just went along with everybody. And um, yeah, but then met an Australian girl who followed them to Australia. And this is where then I started working at Disney um, as an animator because there was not really a capacity for they didn't really have the need much for an effects department. But I ended up creating one there anyway, and that ended up being a department strong of eight people or something like that.
huh.
But yeah, but so basically I worked my way up from being um, an effects animator, an animator, and then eventually became a lead, and then a unit director. I think Bambi 2 or Tarzan 2. We did a lot of
Oh,
sequels in Australia.
yeah.
That's where I became a unit director, and that was my kind of introduction into the directing space. But yeah, so it was kind of a long journey, but I eventually got there. I never thought I would be directing one day, but here I am.
Huh. Well, on the topic of directing, um, I guess it's not really talked about what an animation director exactly does. I think people think it's like a normal film director. Could you like
Mm,
t tell us what goes into that role? Like, because it's animation's such a collaborative process. You have all these
mm, mm,
departments you have to manage to get your
mm.
vision. How what goes into it?
So look, the thing is, there is actually no specific way you have to be as a director in animation, um, because at the end of the day, some people are more writers
Mhm.
and directors in a way. Other people are much more hands-on. Um, I'm a bit of both. So, because basically you don't have to be an animator to direct an animated movie. You need to understand story and you need to understand what character motivations and all these things because
Yeah.
essentially that's what you're trying to create a world of complex interwoven characters and plot and character moments and make that into a cohesive movie. You don't need to be an animator to do that, but having said that, it helps enormously because at the end of the day, I if I have a thought, I can draw a sketch because often, you know, uh, and if I if I show an animator, for example, like how to do a certain action, I can draw that for them really quickly. For 3D animators, I use those drawing skills all the time. Um, so yeah, but you don't need that animation background, but it's definitely very handy. And because also I'm an artist as well, so I actually end up helping with backgrounds. Often
Yeah.
I help with special effects, with animation, with character designs, all these kind of things. And especially when you work on a lower budget movie, help carrying that weight really works. Um, Gets you a long way.
I guess that answers my question. Yeah. Um, I guess you've worked on a lot of films in your many years in the industry.
Mm.
Was there ever one that really stuck out to you as being really meaningful to your career, like a highlight?
Yeah, I would say probably be the 100% Wolf movie was really meant a lot to me because it deals so much with the insecurities of a person and really loving and believing yourself. But at the moment, actually, the movie Zac Power that I'm working on kind of means even more to me because it's really personal. When I was a child, I was quite dyslexic.
Hmm.
Writing and reading was absolutely the bane of my existence. So much so that even when I read comic books, I just looked at the pictures. I didn't even read the words because it just tired me out really quickly. And yeah, but because of that, I always felt like there was something not right with me. I want to be like the other kids who can all read, or I was embarrassed, if I ever had to read out loud anything. And I was forced by teachers sometimes to do that, which was horrible. But anyway, so at the moment, I'm working on a movie, Zac Power, who's a young child who is a spy, which is not a new genre, but what I really wanted to bring into this movie is the dyslexia. So we have a spy who actually has this dyslexia, and that's affecting his everyday life. And he hides that from everybody else to his own detriment. And that's really what I wanted to show, because at the end of the day, if you bring it out, if you let it out, and you talk to people about it, that burden alone off your chest is a lot. At the end of the day, you can still be successful while being dyslexic. And I really wanted to bring that message out to the world because, as a kid, it means so much to me. And the reality is 20% of the world is dyslexic or has a quite a strong reading disability. And the number goes up even more, like 40% are not quite reading efficient. And so it actually is a huge number. And I wanted to represent that on the screen.
Okay, that's pretty beautiful. I guess this is something I've been wanting to ask you for a very long time. Your last film, 200% Wolf. Just
Hmm.
want to put this out there. My most favorite movie of 2024. Uh,
Oh,
uh,
that's fantastic. Thank you.
I was crying. One thing that really stuck with me, it's still stuck with me, is Freddy's wolf form.
Mm, mm,
Um, I became really attached to the design and what it meant for the character, his joy for having it, right?
mm, mm,
But I felt like it was such I don't know how to put it. I feel like it was kind of weird to have him sacrifice it at the end.
Hmm.
From a directorial standpoint,
A
I,
very hotly discussed topic, I'll tell you, um, because and the reason why we ended up there was um, it is like a true hero makes a true sacrifice, whether the outcome is positive or negative for them. And so from that point of view alone, it we didn't have to let Freddy keep his wolf form. And and look, that there is definitely that instant satisfaction that you can give to a character. Once you have proven yourself, you finally get what you always wanted. But we kind of quite didn't quite want to go there because essentially the message of the movie is you are good enough the way you are. And an artificial change or add addition to that does not change who you are. And this is why at the end of the day we got him back into his poodle form, but and Freddy accepts that because like in the first movie, he actually does succeed in the form of a poodle. He doesn't need this wolfishness, and and we actually tried to also show that a little bit more. And unfortunately, we had to take out a couple of moments in the movie where his wolf form actually hinders him doing what he wants to do. So we should have probably pushed that a little bit more. But at the end of the day, we also left that door open a little bit because it's changed into a wolf once doesn't mean he can't do it again.
yeah, I was about to ask because I know the franchise is
Mm.
expanding a lot, continuing like with the theme park and whatnot. Um,
Hmm.
I really, really hope in some way, shape, or form he gets to get that back. Maybe even
Hmm.
permanently.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
so maybe I don't know. Maybe that's
So
something y'all can
yeah.
talk about.
It can definitely be on the cards for another wolf movie. But yeah, this particular one, it just didn't feel quite right
I feel you.
because of the message. But yeah,
Ugh.
believe me, I want him to be the wolf too, and
Okay. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
he is, yes, yeah.
All right. That takes a lot of pressure off me now. uh, I guess that goes to my next question. When you are directing a feature-length animated film, what are some of the biggest creative challenges compared to other forms of animations like television or shorter productions you usually go into?
I guess the bigger challenge for movies versus TV is the well, it depends. If you have a TV series that actually has a linear story that evolves over many episodes, then it's kind of similar to a movie. But a lot of times people underestimate how complex the it is to weave character arcs and like all these different characters' motivations into a full length movie because there are so many arcs and so many things that are connected and that triggers this and that retrospectively had to set up here, and it really is like a story. I always see it as a big round ball that has all these connecting threads. It's
Hmm.
never like a totally linear thing, and that is the challenge to make that complex enough and make the world believable and give it enough depth that you feel like, oh, this world has always existed, and like that world building and that it feels rich and complex and believable. So in a TV show, like if you have like an 11-minute or a 22-minute or whatever episode, you can just jump in and yeah, just have a quick problem. Here's what the character wants, and here's how they what you throw in the obstacles to throw in their way, and here's your resolution. It's much quicker that way and
Hmm.
much easier. So yeah, making something that's 90 minutes or 100 minutes long doesn't mean it takes like five times the length of 22-minute episodes of a TV, because sometimes I hear people say that it's so not the case. For example, like a TV show, you storyboard for maybe 5 weeks, 6 weeks, um, and have maybe one or two storyboard artists on it per episode. On the movie, we have six storyboard artists at least, working for well over a year, year and a half. So that amount of storyboards that's created there is enough to fill 10 movies generally. So a lot of work gets thrown in, gets taken out, gets massaged and tweaked and all of that. So yeah.
Okay. People who want to get into animation or
Mm.
maybe even become directors themselves, what advice would you give them about breaking into that field, that role, and developing their skills?
Um, but I'm a believer that yes, some like schools or colleges, animation colleges are good because they give you a broad understanding of everything that it takes to make a movie. You have a lot of very skilled people teaching you everything. But also I'm a huge believer because I that's how I came up myself of believing of learning on the job because sometimes we get people coming out of a college and I think they know everything. But then they come into production and they expect to be animators straight away, or some even literally come in and say, like, what can I direct? This is why my biggest advice is be humble when
Mhm.
you when you join a production and sponge, learn, because there is so much that you are not taught in school and that is so specific to a particular production, because they only teach you one style or like one method in school. So whether you've gone to school or whether you're self-taught, just yeah, be humble and learn, and but also be eager and don't shy away from like you have to expect to put in hard work and come
Agree.
in at an entry level and then really work hard at, you know, raising your skills. And okay, there's one more advice because there has been so many times where I wanted to give up and thought I wasn't good enough. But then you see even the best animators or the best painters, they all doubt themselves. Everybody does all the time. But that's what makes them grow and be eager and keep learning because they never think that they have reached their top potential. And those are the artists that um go far.
Okay, well, that is some great advice, actually. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Don't
yeah.
doubt yourself. Everybody has those days where you go like, I can't do this. Whether it's a drawing where you just can't get this expression. Oh, it can't be that hard. Other people have done this expression. Why can't I do it? Or, a certain kind of movement where you think, why does this look stiff? Why, when he lands, it's not flowing. Whatever it is,
All
keep
right.
at it.
Well, I guess just to wrap things up here, is there anything about the future of animation that excites you the most right now? I mean, especially with Annecy, and are there any upcoming projects you're working on that you'd like people to keep an eye out for, like Zac Power, especially now that we're starting to see a little bit more from it?
Yeah, obviously Zac Power, I'd love everybody to look out for it. And it's gotten some great momentum already. And Paramount, for example, is so over the moon with where it's going. And they've actually put really a lot of effort into promoting the movie when it comes out. Um, but but what I look forward to in animation is always something different and fresh. Um, because it just amazes me that people always come up with a new style, whether it was Into the Spider-Verse or, you know, uh, there's always something new and different. And I just looked at a project yesterday, a TV project that had a style that I can't get too much into the details of because in respect to the creator, because I don't want somebody else to pick up that idea and go, "Oh, that's great, yeah, I run with that," because his show has not been picked up yet. So in his respect, but this is what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
He's found a new style that has not been done before, and that's the kind of thing that keeps the industry fresh, and that's the kind of thing that can't really be replaced by AI, because even though AI it can create kind of a newish look, but essentially it always pulls in from something else.
Yep.
It, uh, there's very interesting different results because you can grab the art of that artist and this artist, and then the computer comes up with a style that's kind of a mix between the two, which is new and interesting, different, but essentially you can still see the originals in it. And yeah, but yeah, I have not seen enough of AI to really um, go into like my excitement or hate for it. Obviously, I hate how it has everybody scared and feel insecure and steal people's work unjustly or without
Yes.
any compensation. That's a big thing. But at the same time, like if AI is used correctly, I think there's some really exciting things that you can do with it. And look, the thing at the end of like we have used computers for quite a while to do jobs that we didn't want to do. For example, crowds. Like you
Uh-huh.
watch World War Z, do you think an animator would have animated all these or wanted to animate all these thousands of zombies, like that kind of the crowd system has been around for a long time. And I think in a way AI is another one of those tools that can help you create something that, you know, that helps simplifying some moments. But unfortunately, yeah, like it means it will take away from something. And yeah, so I haven't really seen exactly where this is going. Because fortunately, everything that we're still doing here, for example, at Flying Bark and many other companies, is 99% driven by people. And yeah, so that kind of makes me positive about the future. And
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't want anybody to be discouraged from getting into the industry because of it.
Oh, those are some
Because
beautiful
yeah,
beautiful
we
words.
always we always need people, and at the moment, to be like we can't even find enough people to fill all the roles that we need.
Oh
So
man.
it's definitely.
Well, I guess that pretty much wraps up everything. Once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's really fantastic. Love your passion and your interest, and yeah, especially hearing how much 200% Wolf meant to you and how it emotionally affected you, because I always make sure, like, this is so important to me that characters have heart, or my movies have heart, because I wanted to connect with people. I don't want to just be silly actions and,
Yeah.
and or just visual bamboozlement, like it's characters and that we care for that really I want to create.
Awesome. Well, awesome. There you have it, y'all. That is Alexs Stadermann, and until next time, stay ultimate, stick comedians.